Hey guys, thank you so much for tuning in for another video. So in this video we are going to be upgrading the lighting on the 1,000-gallon Moray Eel aquarium. So up until this point I used some really cheap Amazon lights. Didn't really think about lighting too much because it's just a predator tank with no corals and nothing fancy in it. But I was able to secure some high quality lights for a really good price, and these lights are known in the industry for creating a really nice shimmer. So I thought about, maybe why not upgrade the lighting. I mean, the aquarium is in my living room, so it's a piece of art, so I think the lighting was the last step to make this tank look really nice. And in this video I'm going to show you exactly what I got. And also want to thank everyone for hitting a 1,000 subscriber goal. So that's exciting news. Took a while to get there, but thank you again for everyone who subscribed. So yeah, let's get started with the lighting, and I hope you will like it. Okay, so I'm standing in front of the 1,000-gallon Moray Eel aquarium, and as you can see, the lighting is okay. It's not particularly nice. The lights that I'm using on this tank right now are from the company Higger. They're very basic, so they do offer different colorations. So you have blue, green, red, or all of them on at the same time. But they don't allow you to make adjustments. So you can only have either all of them being on blue, on green, on red, or all on at once. But there's no fine-tuning possible. And also the remote for each of them is very, very fiddly, very difficult to program. And also when I turn off the light, with my smart switch and turn it back on, they all default to the factory settings out of the box. So you basically have to reprogram everything. And that's just a pain in the butt when you have 6 of them on this tank. So that's one of the reasons why I wanted to upgrade my lighting. And also, because of the green morays. So this one here is the green moray from Brazil. This is the one I purchased first. And then after a while I noticed that he is not as bright as green morays usually are when you see them in the wild or other people who have them in their aquariums. And that's when I found out that these green morays from Brazil are just a little bit darker. So after I found out that he's not going to be as neon green looking like I wanted to, I purchased the Caribbean green moray. And let me show you the Caribbean green moray. I think he was just down here, or here he is. See, so he's a little bit brighter, but he's still not as bright as he was in the pet store. So when I picked them up in the pet store, he looked different, like much greener, much deeper in coloration. So you actually see them next to each other now. Very nice shot. So you can see the coloration is slightly different. What you see now is not fighting. It's just them, having a little bit of a disagreement, which is normal. As long as there's no biting going on. So this is something that I deem acceptable. So I just have to make sure there's enough food. But when it comes to the lights that I chose, so they will make these eels, both of them, look a lot nicer, a lot brighter. So even the Brazilian, I believe. So I think both eels will look much better. And also the tessellata and the giant moray, the sharks, the remora, so other animals that I have in here. So I think it's going to look great once it's all set up correctly. As you can see here, eels are coming out during the day, no problem. That is because the brightness on my tank is only set to 80%. So I see people complain, that they never see their eels. And when you look at the tank, you see that the brightness is up to like 100%. It's super bright. So that's why they never see the eels. But in this tank, I have them set to about 80%. And as you can see, the eels are comfortable coming out during the day, and they're not stressed out. So this is kind of the sweet spot. And when I install the new lights, Basically, I have to make sure that I also find a new sweet spot so that, you know, the giant moray that's out here, that he's comfortable, you know, and the green morays and all of the other animals. So I don't want any, you know, any eels being stressed out. Because if that was to happen, then what you see here with them, you know, screwing each other up every now and then, that this will actually lead to a fight, and that is bad. So we don't want that. You know, this is just occasional squabbles. You know, I think they're still hungry. I fed them earlier. I will feed them again in a little bit. And once eels are full, you know, you don't see any of this actually. So this is more my fault, you know, but you see them both going into the same opening. Hanging out with each other all the time. So this is normal behavior. If you see them fighting with each other, you know, forming into a ball and, you know, taking chunks out of each other, you know, that's when you have a problem. You know, if one eel chases another eel all around the tank constantly, that's a problem. But what you just saw, that was fine. So don't worry about that. But yeah, so I will show you what lights I purchased. And then we will also go through the setup of them. It's a little bit difficult with this tank being 10 feet long. So when it comes to the rails that I'm going to be using, I'm a little bit limited. So yeah, I will show you the lights right now and then go over the setup and then see if the new lights make a difference or if it's basically the same as before. Here we have the new lights that I'm going to be using. So these are not brand new lights, these are used lights. But I got a really good deal on them. I think they used to sell for over $400 and I got them for $150 each. So I actually got a 12 pack of them, but 2 of these lights are being used on my 270-gallon aquarium in my office that used to house the dragon moray, and I will you know, provide an update to that tank soon, letting you know why it needs special lighting. But yeah, so I have 10 lights. So these are the Kessel A360s, but not the X, which is the version that is a little bit narrower and also has a magnetic bottom for, like, you know, narrow reflectors and stuff like that. So these are the regular A360s, and they come in 2 different versions. The A360W for a wide spread of light, and then the A360N for a narrower spread of light. So these are all A360Ws, which is fine because I don't, you know, intend to keep corals in that big tank that is 4 feet tall. So I just need to, you know, create a different light shimmer if you want. So shimmer is very important for me because you know, Kessel lighting is known to create, you know, pretty shimmer in the tank if you have a lot of water movement on the surface. And yeah, so when it comes to mounting this, so mounting has been difficult with this big tank here because if you look at my ceiling, it's not, you know, straight. So it's really difficult to find a lighting kit that you can hang off the wall. So the existing lights, they are, you know, 4 feet long. And before I had these, you know, when I had the AI Vega lights, I tried to build, you know, all kinds of, you know, mounting systems with PVC, and it was always a pain in the butt. You know, you would, every time I was doing maintenance here and try to move the lights all the way, I would have to worry that they would fall into the water and electrocute the fish. So yeah, in order to set up these the Kessel lighting, I decided to buy some brackets from Aqualumination. So there's no bracket that reaches from here all the way till the end, which is 10 feet. So I decided to buy 4 brackets that are 4 feet long. So basically from here to here, and I will have 1, 2, 3, 4 in order to create, you know, an even spread of light. So here's the mounting system, and these are actually meant for these what I call AI Hydra lights, the 26, 32, 52, and 64th. But you can use them on Kessel lighting. I'm showing you that in just a second. So these are the 4 feet long rails. These were $90 each, so pretty expensive. And then this lighting, this rail is basically only this part. But if you want it to look like this, you have to buy these feet separate. So this is a separate purchase, another $90. times 4. So they're really murky when it comes to, you know, setting up lights. There's so many, you know, lighting companies that are not known brands, but they provide you with mounting in the box, and here you have to buy everything separate, so that's kind of a pain. So yeah, what I'm going to do is I have 10 lights, so I may do 8 lights, so 2 on each for each rail, or I add 3 lights on 2 of them, you know, to see if that will make a big difference in the lighting. But once I have these mounted on here, I have to use these audio cables. These are 3.5 millimeters male-to-male audio cables, and you basically daisy chain these together. So here it says output, so from out you go to in, and then from in to out, and basically keep your way, work your way through all the lights. And I don't want to connect, let's say I have 2 lights on this one, I don't want to connect them going over like this and like this and like this, because I don't want cables hanging on the above the tank. So I also purchased you know, these really long ones, which basically will run down after every 2 lights, connect back here, then go down. So basically it will look a little bit cleaner. Yeah, let's go over how to mount these. So basically these are M5 screw holes, and basically what I'm going to be doing is I'm just going to be screwing in a screw like this into each of them, and then I will basically just slide it into these grooves. So you can slide it left and right and put it in position. The problem is the screws that I bought initially, they're a little bit short, so they're basically as long as these knobs when they're screwed in. And so I may still use them and just have the light rail go this way, and that way the light cannot be moved left to right. Or I'm just going to use these same ones, but they're, you know, 40 millimeters or 4 centimeters long. Will make my life a little bit easier. But yeah, I'm going to be putting all this together, and then we'll do a little test and see if it makes a big difference when it comes to the coloration of the fish. Okay, so before I show you the final results, I wanted to give you an update on what I use for the covering of this aquarium, so that the Kessel lights look as good as possible. And this is what you see here is something that I used to use. So this is clear acrylic. It's I think the 1/4 inch thickness, and even though it's a 1/4 inch thick, it's still very flexible. And after a while what happens is this starts to sag in the center, so the edges lift up, and then you have a bunch of water accumulating there, running down the aquarium, so you have to clean the aquarium, you know, the water spots. So I stopped using this. And this right here, these are polycarbonate panels. They're very popular. They're barely flexed at all, so they never sag. But the problem is they take away all the shimmer of the Kessel lights. So if you are paying for Kessel lights and you want that shimmer in your tank, unfortunately you cannot use these types of panels here. So what I had to do is find glass, and if possible tempered glass. So the most economical way to approach this that I found is to buy coffee tables. So I found these coffee tables here. They have the length of 45 inches. My aquarium is 48 front to back. So I basically bought a multiple of these. Each one has 2 pieces of glass, which is great. So I bought 3 of them, so I have 6 pieces. So I covered the entire aquarium with this tempered glass, and this makes sure that the shimmer, you know, remains available for this aquarium. All right, the lights are now installed, and as you can see, or at least in my opinion, it looks a lot better. So let's go a little bit closer and see the shimmer effect that these Kessel lights produce. So you can see all the way on the top, and it goes all the way to the bottom. So this is basically what these lights are known for. And they also make the animals look a little nicer, at least in my opinion. So this is the Brazilian green moray. So he's not gonna pop that much, you know, under this lighting. The Caribbean green moray that's currently hiding, he's going to look a lot nicer. I mean, I'm still dialing in the settings, But even this tessellata here, I think he looks nicer. So yeah, I mean, it was costly endeavor. I bought 12 of these lights. I used 8 of them, and I paid $150 each. So which is still good, better than the 400 or whatever they cost new. And then obviously I went over the pricing of the rest of the stuff as well. So it's not cheap, but this is a piece of art that's in my living room. So I cannot really cheap out on the lighting. It's very important for the overall look of the tank. Obviously, the interior is kind of, controversial, I would say. It looks like, some people say it looks like, a drainage system or whatever in your living room. But it is what it is. The eels are happy. And when the eels are happy, they act more happy, So, and then they display, better behavior. They come out more, So it's about the eels mostly, right? So the eels look nicer. They behave better. They feel happier, and they more comfortable. Then you have less stress, less problems with fighting. Everyone has their space. Everyone can get away from each other. So, and now with the lighting, I dialed it in to about 50%. So that's one of the things I had trouble with, that initially I had the lights set too strong, and then the eels started to get into each other, fighting a little bit because they were just stressed out from the bright light. So now it's kind of the sweet spot, I would say. Everyone is starting to act normal again. Nobody is constantly hiding except the Viper Moray, but that's just what it does. It never really swims. It's always up here. We'll put in some food and then see if everyone comes out and how everyone will look under this new lighting. So I just put some food in the tank, and the eels are a little bit hesitant to eat, and one of the reasons is that today was water change day, and water changes are a little bit of a stressful event. So what I do is I change about 50% of the water, so it goes down to like here. So any eel that's up there or used to hanging out up there has to then come down, and then everyone is kind of hunched together. So I try to make water changes as quickly as possible to avoid any long-term stress, which could cause aggression. And but usually I'm done very quickly, because all I do is open the drain at the bottom, and then the water gushes out. So the gray bamboo shark that you see here, he has been getting more and more aggressive. It's kind of still being a bully when he's hungry, and he's getting larger. So still debating whether or not this is a good aquarium for him. Unfortunately, I cannot add another tank of this size or something bigger even. So yeah, I'm still debating what to do, watching his behavior towards the eels. And he's also the reason why my zebra eel that is way back there, probably can't even see him, he barely comes out. He always stays at the very back. Because he's just a very slow moving fish, and the sharks are very fast and aggressive, so that's why he's always hiding from them. So yeah, but other than that, I think the lighting now, you don't see any shimmer, and that is because whenever I feed, I have to turn off the wave maker that I have attached magnetically from here, because otherwise all the food would just be ending up there, any food that floats, because some of these feeder fish have air pockets in them, so sometimes I have to just squeeze them to make sure that they sink, but didn't do that for that piece. But yeah, here's the zebra eel, very rare sighting, and usually he's a crustacean eater, but I guess he's so hungry that he's now eating a piece of tilapia. Tilapia is something that I rarely feed, actually, because it is so unhealthy for humans. So also then, of course, for eels, because it's usually farm raised and in very terrible conditions. So, but what I do is I basically just create a tray of food. I can show you that up here, where you have all kinds of seafood, mixed together. Not only tilapia, but also these mullets, and then shrimp at the bottom, some smelt fish. Smelt fish I also don't feed as often because of the high therminase content. And if you know anything about that, some people who constantly feed the eels, smeltfish or silver size, they end up having problems with Damnase poisoning. So yeah, always try to have a varied diet: squid, tilapia, salmon, mullet, shrimp, mussel. So yeah, try to keep it as varied as possible. And here's a remora. He's also doing very well. He's a very big belly. He's an absolutely ferocious eater. So ever since I put him in the tank, I have to keep spreading the food out, because otherwise if I only put the food up there in the tank, he just sits underneath the water and then just opens his mouth and everything lands in his mouth and nobody else gets anything. So yeah, that's also another reason why the sharks are getting a little bit impatient during feeding time, because they can smell the food in the water, but they don't find the food because it all ends up in the remora's belly. But yeah, what can I say? I think this was a successful experiment, a good upgrade for this tank. Looks a lot nicer. Unfortunately, the eels are not out right now as much as I want, but like I said, this is due to today being a water change day and the eels, still being a little bit stressed out, even though, it may not look like that, but stressed out eels usually don't eat very well. So they usually need a day or two. And I was thinking about maybe waiting a day before I make this video, but I thought I would do it today, so to get this video out. It's been a while since I uploaded something. So yeah, I think this is it for this video, unless anything cool happens in the last couple of minutes. But his growth rate has been really amazing. So he's almost as big as the Caribbean green moray, which I bought at 3.5 feet. And this one, if you watched my video of him, the Japanese dragon moray and the zebra eel that I all got at the same time, he was tiny, like 2 feet, but very thin. And now he's pretty much, I have to look twice, what eel am I looking at. But this lighting here will basically have the effect that the Caribbean green moray will look more neon, right? And then it will be easier for me to distinguish between the two eels. So yeah, but what can I say? Yeah, I think this is it for this video. I will make sure to keep you posted on any updates, and hopefully you have a good day and see you soon.